Well, good morning, folks, and welcome to the Bendit Fishing Channel. I'm Josh. I'm a New Hampshire registered fishing guide here, and I'm fishing Lake Winnipesaukee, and we're in Meredith, New Hampshire. Meredith Town Docks, kind of in my background. It's April 29th. We have a water temp of 47.65. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and we're going to go try to find some spring lake trout and teach you guys how to find spring lake trout, because those little buggers, can be anywhere in the spring. They can go wherever they want. They can be up shallow in warm bays. They can be down deep, eating bugs. They can be anywhere. So let's go find them, and I'll walk you guys through the whole stinking process. So let's talk about how to find spring lake trout. And it first starts off with finding a lake that has lake trout in it. Hopefully you're on one of those already. And then having your boat prepared to jig or cast for spring lake trout. Now, every lake is different. Our lake is smelt based lake, so they can be anywhere in the water column wherever that bait is. And I'll give you a clue on how I found this spot, because my camera wasn't even rolling. My plan was to run super far out and go jig in a spot that I've been fishing in before, like probably 3 weeks ago, because I haven't been back here in a while. We're on Lake Winnipesaukee. Now, the smelt run is probably almost over, so our smelt spawn in the spring up in rivers and then come back out. I do have a river next to me. I don't know if they spawn up there or they try to run up there at all. I know other fish try to go up there. But let's talk about boat setup real quick. So I have a Lumicraft V16 LTD. It's a 2001. I have the Minn Kota Tarova on front. That's an 80 foot-pound. Then I have the Tahatsu 50 horsepower tiller. Then I have two Garmins. I have Garmin right here running 2D, and that's my other jig right there. That is just to confirm what I'm seeing on LiveScope, and then I'm running LiveScope Plus. And I have a whole video about all my electronics setup, because you guys always ask those questions. And I have LiveScope Plus. You don't need LiveScope Plus. You just need to use 2D if you have it. A lot of people will ask me, do I need LiveScope to catch lake trout, or do I need all this advanced electronics? No, you don't. And do you need electronics? I would say yes, you do, if you want a vertical jig for lake trout, if you want to catch a lot of fish. So that's the first part of that. The next key thing is running the right size bait. So lake trout are actually in the char family, and if you've ever fly fished or any sort of fly fish is where I kind of got the information from. Fish will profile baits more than they see color, more than they see size. Like, they want to see stuff in the size range they've been eating. So right now, this is my smelt matching pattern. This is the 3/8 ounce chartreuse jig head with about a 2-inch paddle tail on the back of it. This is available on benditfish.com. That is all rigged up and ready to go with a medium rod with 15-pound Power Pro braid and a 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. And I have basically two of those setups, one with an Expride and a 2500 series reel. Got to be prepared, got to have that trolling motor down, and you want to basically putt right off the boat launch, because they can be really right there in order to find lake trout. So I'll give you one of the reasons why I found this spot. I was telling you I was going to run, is I actually saw, we're right off the no wake zone right here in the bay. I saw a pair of loons, which I'm not sure when they nest, but a pair of loons right here diving down and being active. Now, if they're being active, that means there's bait in the area. I don't need a sonar to tell me that. That was a clue that I needed to stop right here, and that there was food in the area for lake trout to eat. I didn't need to go anywhere else. That was number one. Number two, and I'll show you right now on my phone, I am near a couple pieces of structure right there. I'm the boat, that waypoint 454 is just a hump. In those areas, lake trout will just chill in those areas. They just love being next to structure. So we found the bait by using the loons. Now, I also have a video on how to find bait on plane. I'm not gonna go over that today, but if you wanna see that video, I'll leave the link for that video below. It's basically how to find lakers fast by like power searching. And I basically just trolled over here, and I didn't even have the trolling motor down. And there's one other key thing, and I'll drop it real quick. If you think there's bait in this area, head downwind, spin around and go upwind so your boat doesn't swing around when you hit spot lock. And so we are just dangling our line over the side of the boat. I'll snap jig every once in a while to make that tail kick a little bit. And I can also pound bottom just a little bit to stir up the bottom and make noise. I am not doing one of these snap jigging things. The reason why people used to do that in the past was to get a reaction bite out of a lake trout with usually a spoon. Now I'm not using spoon, I'm using small swim baits. Spoons are great too, but when you're getting a reaction bite out of a lake trout, that spoon is actually fluttering on the way down and they're hitting it out of just necessity. They want to kill something. I want to make the lake trout work for me, not the other way around. We know we're in an area that has bait in it. Let's go find the lake trout using just basically power searching with our gas motor and using spot lock to stop us. So gas motor on. So I'm going to head into the wind almost always, unless I really can't help it. It just saves a bunch of time. And we're going to be looking, you guys can look on the 2D section right where it says 45 in the bottom right hand side of that screen. I'm going to be looking at live scope. So right there is a fish at 40, and I'm going to try to get him right in my crosshairs here. There's another one right there. Now I'm using the 2D off of live scope, which is not the best, but all we're going to be doing is putting around here looking for arches that are near the bottom. Now I know they're in this area, so I'm going to spin around and go back the other way. Actually, there's another one in front of us. Let's go get him instead. Rod's always ready. And you can do this with a center console too, or a side console. Doesn't matter. It's a little easier with a tiller. So there's a nice high suspended fish. That just show up on both sides there. And what I'm going to do, see how he showed up right there at 40? I'm going to spin my boat around, face my boat into the wind. Right there, and then I'm going to hit my spot lock button. And I want to do this as fast as possible. Now see, there he is suspended. There's two fish down there. There's one on bottom, and there's one suspended. There's my jig dropping down. And your 2D imaging, almost everyone out there will do this. I use Garmin because their live scope's the top of the line. I was a Humminbird guy before, especially with 2D. Their 2D is crystal clear, which I loved. And now that lake trout is gone, but he's still in the area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tap bottom here, shut off my gas motor for a minute. Oh, there he is. See him right there? Now 2D won't see him till the last minute, but he is right next to my jig. I'm going to tap in the mud again. And I'm not trying to get a reaction right out of him yet. I'm trying to just get him in the area. Now I got one coming up behind me who's going straight up. Now you won't see that on 2D until he's right next to you. So this one's right next to me. There's two down there, going all over the place. And one of them chased and didn't commit. I got two Lakers coming in actually. The more Lakers, the better. 2 to 3 is the magic number. Once you get a whole school, they kind of get confused sometimes. And I usually try to stand up to do my hook sets here just to get more power on them. So I can see both of those fish on live scope, but not on 2D imaging. That's the power of live scope. Because normally I would just leave because I wouldn't be seeing any fish. And live scope does not make the fish bite, by the way. And see that fish out there at 25 feet? He is mulling around and he is hungry. Waiting for him to come see me. He's gonna show up on 2D anytime now. There he is. Classic chase. And a bigger one. Yeah. Just another little guy right there. Keeper size. Keeper size. going back in. All right, so 11 Lakers in this one spot. So, like I said, have your boat prepared, have a couple rods ready, usually something heavy and something a little bit smaller. Make sure you're putting around using your electronics to find marks. If you get a clue from loons or other birds that there's bait in the area, stop there and always check. It just happened to be 2 humps in this area and a loon, or a pair of loons. We just lit them up right here. So put around, use your electronics, go slam some lake trouts. And if you want to help support the channel, visit benditfish.com. And if you want to see more lake trout how-to content, either click here or click here. I have a playlist for both things, and the guide service, you can go to my website and find it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on one of those next videos.